What's up? Let's get my turn on. Let's see how many people join. I don't know if much people are going to join. Maybe a little weak. Usually when I stream on Friday to the weekends, more people come in, but let's see what happens. But I guess update. Man, that sucks. Well, I mean, think of it the bright side. I mean, now there's a chance to create something even better than you did before, so. But anything recent on this tank, I did heavily trim the back stems. I mean, they were like almost like for the first time ever, they were literally like about to touch the surface. They were getting insanely long, and a lot of the growth underneath it was dying off, which was pretty bad just because it was insanely long, and obviously this bottom half was getting like little to no light at all. So when I trimmed them, it's still in pretty rough condition, but it's starting to kind of recover pretty nice. Everything's growing back, so hopefully nothing too bad is gonna happen. But you can see just how rough it looks. Plus, did a water change, so it's all pushed around a little bit. But like the times you can kind of see how some of it's still brown, but it's new buds are growing in all of them. So hopefully, in a week or two, it's gonna start looking a little better. What I'm noticing is a lot of the new buds are coming in, like are actually turning red. So hopefully, I don't know. Last time it did that, and it just turned right back to, to like a light pink to like a green. So I don't know, but that'd be pretty cool if it actually starts transitioning a little bit. But you see, like definitely over here, see all these like slightly red. You can't really see on camera that good, but some of these ones have been growing in pretty fast, turning kind of red. But yeah, that looks kind of horrible right now, but hopefully that all grows back and looks pretty decent. But let's see. No, that's the same light. I'm still running the Twin Star 900 on this tank. I was planning on by this time now, like I did originally plan to have an ADA solar RGB on this tank by now, but other things happened. I had to buy some other tanks pretty early, so I didn't get the I didn't have the money for that. Basically, the money that went towards buying that stuff went towards that instead of the new light, but it's fine. The Twin Star on this, it does perfectly fine. Does everything I need it to. It's just when I do get the money, I do want to replace it with the ADA, just because it's gonna bring out the colors that much more. But yeah, it's the same light. It just might be the camera, especially with this new phone. I have a Note 20 now, so I know it looks a little different on here, and then plus sometimes depending on the angle, the tank just I see like it looks super bright, and then it might just be the new camera, like how it adjusts to that light. But I have noticed that too. But yeah, like the solar RGB is like exactly double the wattage. So this is 65, and then the solar RGB is 130 watts. So it's gonna be insanely bright. So we'll definitely have to raise it up higher when we get that. But I won't be able to hang it from the ceiling because how I mean, I have to see what happens. I mean, if I'm able to hang it from ceiling, I don't think I will because I measured the holes for the solar RGB and it's not like a perfect 16, so you can't really put it on studs, which kind of sucks. So basically, what I plan on is with having I have to get an actual stand for it, which is fine. It'll be this is a cleaner look, but at the same time, when we put the stand on there, that's just going to be a lot easier down the road, and you're not putting holes in the ceiling, and then easier to adjust to, except not getting on a ladder every time. So yeah, I've looked at the light, and a lot of people have been using it lately. It is a good light, but it's nothing. It's still nothing compared to the solar RGB. Um, Again, it's just like this twin star, like even the light you're saying, the Vivid Two. They're amazing lights. Twin Star, that light. I mean, they're all amazing lights. It's just ADA, the color hues that they use in those lights. It just makes the green. Each light that I use either makes the greens look really good and then the reds not, or like the Twin Star makes the reds look really good and then the greens not. So each light has kind of their disadvantages with the solar RGB, and I've used all these with the store that I work at. All these lights I've used before, and we test them on all these tanks, and the solar RGB just every time it just brings up everything. The color and all your plants, your fish. It just there's just a different look to solar RGBs that I just like so much. But like, yeah, like if I'm recommending a light, I would totally tell somebody to get the Vivid 2 for sure. But me personally, for my personal setups, the solar RGB is definitely what I want to go with. But like the nano tanks, like the 45C that will sit right here, which should be here tomorrow. I don't know. I'll probably be picking it up on the weekend. I'm not sure yet, but it'll sit right here. And that one, I'll probably get a Titan One by UNS, which is looks exactly like a solar RGB, and it's like 400, I think, and I'll be using that light on that as of right now. But the only reason I wouldn't want to go with the Vivid 2 is I, I'm so particular about looks. The Vivid lights just like they look too fat to me. I don't know. I'm weird like that, but I like everything to look good at the same time. So I would probably definitely get a Vivid 2 though. If that would definitely be one of my light options though, top three. Yeah, because that light looks equally amazing. It actually does bring out the reds and greens really well too. But yeah, but my 120Ps, they'll have, of course, those will have two solar RGBs on them each, so we'll have four total, and then plus this tank, so that'd be five total. And then honestly, I almost said screw it and like put one on here too. I mean, might as well. I mean, if I'm already gonna put the Titan One on there, but I don't know. It depends on money. I don't know if I really want to. I might though. It's just the only problem with that is if I do a solar RGB on this tank also, then it's like the 45P that I'm gonna do behind me, and the 60F, which I'll show you guys in a sec. I'll turn around. Um, those two I plan to put Titan ones on those too. So like it's like, well, I might as well just do solar RGBs on those two. If I have the money, but I don't know. That's way too many solar RGBs. If I had one on each tank, that's just it'd be funny to do it, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to put a solar RGB on every single tank I have. Cause that's just gonna be too much. But so yeah, so the 45C. Let me see, check guys. Read your guys' questions real quick before I keep talking. Yeah, I work in construction. That's my main job, and then on the weekends I work at the local fish store. But we're an ADA retailer, so we're one of the ADA retailers in the United States. So it's pretty nice. So I have access to test all these products and also see them every day. So and then how do I keep my water crystal clear? It's quite easy. I mean, I feel like this is something that people always overthink. Like if I showed you my filter, there's nothing in there that like 90. In my Owaza 600, there's 6 trays. 5 of those trays have CChem matrix, so 90% of the canister is just straight up biological media. And then the very top, I have just filter floss and purgin, and that's it. So very minimum mechanical at all. Like the filter floss is very little, and then obviously just a bag of purgin. But so mainly, I mean, 90% of my filter is just biological media. I mean, the biggest thing in keeping crystal clear water is just having your tank cycled and ammonia free. So that in itself will just keep your water crystal clear. And obviously, different things affect it too, like having this rimless, low iron glass. It does make a difference. Like if you fill up a tank that isn't low iron glass, and then you compare it to like a rimless like this, it does make the water look a little different, and you definitely get a more clear look in these rimless tanks. But it should still look pretty good. But I just know on some of these like cheaper tanks, it will affect the way your water looks too, just because of how the glass is made. And obviously keeping your actual inside of the glass clean too. Everything makes a difference. And that big thing is it's just always having your tank cycled, no weird ammonia spikes, nothing like that, because ammonia spikes will bring out cloudiness. If you're talking like cycled, I ran. To be honest, I really don't know how long it exactly took. I mean, I didn't put fish into this tank until about 4 or 5 months into it. It's like 4 months. But yeah, I didn't put fish till like 4 months. But like, it was probably ready within like a month, because I had quite a bit of already cycled media that I put in the filter. But yeah, I went ahead and escaped this. I planted it all, flooded it, and then just let it rain. I just let the plants grow in and just did my thing for about a few months until I put fish in here. What's up, Snowman? But yeah, it's not looking too great right now, but what I'll probably do is, so what I was about to say like 5 minutes ago, basically a lot of the plants have been kind of dying off and melting off, and one of the reasons for that is I was experimenting with different biological media. I was testing out a aqua neo biological media that makes your water softer, and obviously I was already running RO water in this tank, which is already soft water. But with the Sirius stone, it raises my KH and GH like crazy. So that's why I decided to also put the soft media in there, and it worked. But it was just raising. I mean, not raising, but it was dropping my pH like crazy. Um, and my pH is like sitting at like low fives, which is not. I mean, not really good at all. It needs to be more of the 6 or 7. And so yeah, I switched back. So I went back from that and then put back my matrix. And as you can guess from that, that caused an ammonia spike, and basically is slowly killing a lot of these plants. But I think the good thing of that is, like, you can see my S repens are kind of dying off now. I'll have to replant those anyway, so that's not a big deal. But you see some of these gray such brown marks on the leaves. It's just slowly eating away at the plant, so I'll have to rip all those out. This big one, which sucks because this one looks really good when it grows in. You can see it's doing the same thing, so I'll have to rip out that whole bush. You can kind of see I was already starting today. I was ripping out some things. The stems will recover. They've already basically have, so that should be fine. And then that explains why the Monte Carlo is kind of suffering too. So yeah, I got to fix that before get the ammonia in control. But the reason the fish aren't like panicking or nothing is because even though there's a lot of ammonia in this tank, the lower your pH is, the less toxic your ammonia is to fish. So even though my ammonia is pretty high in this tank right now, the pH being almost under 6, the ammonia is almost not even toxic at all to the fish. That's why they're actually perfectly fine. And I do 2 water changes a week on this tank, so that helps too, obviously. But yeah, it kind of sucks, but once we solve that issue and replant, everything should be going back to normal. And that explains why I kind of had this algae issue for a while too. I started getting all kinds of weird green spot algae. I started getting a little bit of hair algae, staghorn, which shouldn't even be a thing in this tank. I mean, I don't know why I was getting it, and now it makes sense now. Having all the ammonia in the tank obviously was just feeding that algae like crazy. So yeah, we'll just get that in control, and hopefully we can start getting this tank back to normal. Kind of sucks. I was hoping this tank would look a lot better being like 6 or 7 months in, but it's fine. It'll get there. As long as it's ready for the ADA context, I'm fine. Where'd I get the rocks from? So there's a few sites you can get like these rocks that I have, but like where I usually get them is Glass Aqua. They've always gave me pretty good deals because I buy in bulk. But so I bought 500 pounds of Cereus, so basically like a whole crate or a pallet. So I bought 500 pounds. I forget how much they charge. It's like $100 per 30 pounds, so you could do the math. It was quite a lot, but the good thing is, out of that 500 pounds, I used probably like 120 in this tank, and then the rest I sold and got my money back. So definitely doesn't. If you have the money, definitely buy a lot of hardscape, like so much extra that you don't even know what to do with. For that reason, just so you have a lot to choose from. It would be a lot of money, but you can do what I do and just sell it right back, or just keep it for the next tank. But that's what I'm probably gonna try to do next. Instead of selling it the next time, I'll probably just keep them in crates and just so I always have some scaping supplies. But yeah, you can just sell it right back and get your money back. There's a lot of people that are out for those stones. Let's see. Are you glad you went with doing sand, or would you not do it again? I'm on the fence with doing sand with tank. Um, if I would have if I would have scaped it right, like if I didn't screw up my scape, the sand would have been fine and I would have been happy with it. But with the what that's one of the reasons why I kind of hate the scape a lot now is it's not so much the sand, it's just that it gets dirty so fast because of how I scaped it. Because if I was smarter about how I scaped, I wouldn't have so much soil leaching onto the sand all the time. And so twice a week I have to actually vacuum the sand, which sucks. But if I would have done it right the first time, oh yeah, it would have been, I wouldn't have regretted it at all. And the sand looks really good. But if you don't think about it and do what I did, then yeah, the sand is kind of a headache. Like I'd much rather just like start a carpet at this point. But yeah, I don't ever regret doing sand. It's just if you don't do it right, then especially with this being such at a hill, that it just over time the soil just wants to fall on it. But I escaped this tank so fast that I just totally it blew past my mind when I was thinking about it. But it's fine. This tank will still turn out good, but I can't wait to destroy it though and do something new. Because next tank it'll be a lot simpler, but it's just gonna be so much better to look at. Because it'll probably just be a regular Iagumi traditional where we just do like a carpet only and maybe a few mid grounds. But I'll make sure the scape's more looks a little more cooler. But if we only do like a carpet in this tank, that's just gonna be the easiest thing ever. And it'll also look really good. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully we can do that during the summer. That's what I'm planning on redoing this tank. And I'll probably keep these ember tetras as like the main fish in here. Because I think they'll look really good in Inugumi too. Just have a big school with them. I think there's like a couple dozen to like 30 of them now. What's my favorite fish? Probably my all-time, like, just aquarium-wise, probably rubby noses. I've always liked the look of them. They always school real tight. They look real neat. Um, Probably close seconds. Uh, the next ones are. It's always hard to rank the next few favorites. I do like embers a lot. Like ever since I've had them, I really like them. Um, I'd probably say like green neons is probably my second. I really like them. They look real neat and different compared to cardinals and Your regular neons. Oh, I guess cut that aside. I think I would say my actual second would probably be auto sinkless, and then probably like pygmy cories, and then green neons. Well, if we're just talking about like schoolers, probably rummy nose and green neons and embers are top three. But I'd have to actually sit down and make a list if I actually had to name my top five. There's a lot of fish out there. Yeah, that's the biggest thing with tanks, just taking your time. With the last two tanks, that's where I screwed up at. I come up with escaping and I just do it all too fast, and it looked really good at first, but over time I didn't think about it in the long term what it's gonna do. So next time I know now from this tank has definitely taught me from now on to just actually make sure, even if I have to take a week on the escape, that's what I'll do. So I'm being honest, I escaped this tank, which sucks is I recorded me escaping this whole tank, but I ended up accidentally deleting the video, so that really sucks. So you guys never saw that, but this took like, I escaped this whole thing in like 20-30 minutes. So I really didn't take long at all, but I wish I would have spent more time. Well, thanks, Nature Aquariums. I'll definitely make sure I subscribe back when I'm done. I don't think I'm subscribed. How many fish? I'm thinking of getting 40 chilias boars and 40 embers for my 90. Do you think that's too many? And also, I was thinking of mesh bags with a lava stone would help. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did with this tank. Obviously, you can see, I mean, I didn't plan it as good, but that's basically what I did was fill a bag with like, I mean, you can use anything biological media, which would get expensive, but best is like lava rock or gravel, whatever you want to do. And yeah, you can set it underneath the substrate and that creates height. And you could just, mound it with a bunch of substrate, but what's better about having like lava rock underneath or like just a gravel is it's gonna keep that height because over time soil is just gonna slowly seep down and just get lower and lower over time, just because that's what soil does. It just compacts. So like with this scape was way steeper at first, and now you can see it's just slowly getting more flat and flat. It's still pretty tall. You can't really see it no more, but like this back is probably up like 12 inches. But then let me go back to the other part of your question. But yeah, the mesh, yeah, that'd be totally safe to do. 40 chilies and 40 embers, yeah, you can definitely do that in a 90. You just gotta, depending on what else you do, if you plan to do a bunch of other stuff, then you might have to maybe cut those in half. But if you were just doing those and maybe some like inverts, yeah, you could definitely do that. It's not much of a bio load between those fish, especially chilios boars. They're so small. I'd be I mean, I have 40 embers in this tank and it's a 48, so definitely, definitely fine with the 90 for sure. Yeah, you can definitely put that in mesh bags too. There's a lot of different rocks you could use. As long as you don't get nothing that affects your water, then yeah, you can definitely go for it. Let's see. Yeah, I got way too much money invested in this tank. I picked up the Biomax 850. Yeah, I thought if I would have known that 850 was going to come out, I'd have definitely put it on this tank, but it's whatever now. But eventually I'll put like a Super Jet 88 on this tank, but that's like not important at all, so that's not going to be something, that's not going to be a priority more as mine. But eventually I would like to switch this tank out for a different filter. I think the 88 1200 will be my pick. But yeah, I mean, most of you guys probably heard how much the tank costs at this point, but like this tank, for example, by the time, like as of today, this tank's like 8,000. But like startup cost, I mean, startup cost isn't much different. I mean, by the time I was but by the time I flooded this tank, I was at like 7,000. That's like literally like if you go for like the best equipment out there, then that's what you're gonna look at spending. But that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of my next tanks, I gotta wait for a little bit because they'll even nano tanks will cost just as much. But hopefully this tank, it's gonna be quite a lot too. Hopefully I can keep it under 5 grand. It's only half the size of this tank, so we'll see. But there'll be a little more expensive equipment on this one too. There'll be everything will be 80 on this tank, so that won't be fun to pay. But the good thing is where I work now, I get 50% off, so that saves me a bunch of money, especially when it comes to the ADA products that I like using. Let's see all the questions. What's up, Texas Fish Room? I just thought about those and some shrimp, perhaps 10 thread fins. Yeah, that'd be sweet. I have a few nanofish like Cestropole and rice fish and others like cichlids. Yeah, I like Cestropole. I actually have one here right now. He's a straggler. I accidentally net him up. When I was netting up some more embers from my tank, I accidentally netted up a Cestropole in here, so he's like somewhere in here. He's been schooling with the embers. I didn't want to take him back. I'll just screw it. I'll leave it. Yep, 8 grand indeed. Wait until I do my 120 piece. People, people don't believe me when I say I'm going to spend 10 grand on those. It'll be a lot more than that. Trust me. It'll be insane though. It'll be definitely some nice content coming in a couple years. So those are gonna be sick. ADA 60p would be my dream tank. Yeah, that tank's pretty nice. I actually thought about doing a 60, but I don't know. I just don't really have the space for it. My 60F I just picked up. This is a 60, but obviously it's half the height of a 60p. So this will be a new tank coming again. I don't know. It's not gonna be set up anytime soon, but it's here when we're ready. And then over here on this side, we'll have a 45p. So 2 nano shrimp tanks will be coming. And then, of course, in this corner, like I was saying, a 45C will sit right in this corner. That's why it's cleared out right now. But a 45C is just right where you see the door seam. That's a 45C, so it's this tank split exactly in half. So that will sit in this corner nicely side by side. So that's kind of the plan for that. And then obviously that's my room, and then outside of this room there'll be two 120Ps eventually. But obviously those are 4-foot tanks, so there's gonna be no room in here to do it. But those are the tanks that'll be coming here in the future. But actually, my 45C comes tomorrow. I don't know if I'll pick it up tomorrow. It's gonna be at the store, so I work on the weekends, so I'll pick it up then probably. But if I want to go drive and get it, I will. And then my 45P should actually be here this weekend too, so it's actually at the store already, but I'll have to pick that up. Let's see, you should give me on how much a tank costs you set up. Yeah, I did think about that. Actually, like going like price by price and like showing people like how it actually became that expensive. So I actually might do that. And that video can also be a just to kind of explain to people, with these high tech tanks, it can give my an idea of what other tanks will cost too, because based off this price, I can pretty much guess what any other size is going to cost. But yeah, I probably will do a video like that for sure. Matter of fact, I might do that next week if I don't think of anything to film. Let's see. I need your hookup for them 88 tanks. Hey, if you pay the price, I'll ship them to you. I got access to all the 88 products you want. I had a custom rimless build. Do you just think 88 is a better aquarium? If we're talking about like the tank itself, the 88 is 100 times better. It's the best tank you can possibly buy on the market right now. It'll probably be the only tank that's ever going to be. I don't think any other tank's going to surpass 88 ever. So I've had all rimless tanks. I've kept every brand, and also at the store I've seen, and we carry a couple other high end brands. And yeah, 88 is just overall the best build. You know, German silicone. I mean, you're never gonna have nothing's ever gonna fail with the 88 tank basically. So the tank, 100% worth it. Now the lily pipes, if you're going for aesthetics and you just have the money, yes, the glass lily pipes of ADA, their glass is clear, so it's the same glass that they also use for the tanks, and it's a lot clearer than the other pipes. But unless you have them side by side, you will not see a difference. I mean, if I'm being really honest, but if you do have them side by side, you will see a difference between ADA and like a cheaper lily pipe. There is a big difference. These are so much more clear and um, but again, like if you're not having them side by side, nobody's ever going to tell the difference, honestly. So I just like to have all my stuff the same brand. So, you know, I bought the 88 pipes and I do like them. And 88 also makes different types of lily pipes that other brands don't. So that's also like another reason. But if you're going like the traditional, just the flower, which is what they call that design, yeah, I mean, there's no point in getting the expensive ones. But if you're like me and just want to spend the money, then yeah, you can go ahead. If you want to, you can check out my unboxing video of those when they got them brand new. But let's see here. You're gonna have the coolest bedroom, bro. Yeah, it's funny that you say that because that's what I've been kind of telling people. My house is literally gonna be an ADA gallery. Obviously, I still live at home and stuff, but we just built this house. We spent all last year building this house, so this is the finished basement down here that I live in. And so yeah, my whole room I plan to just have an ADA gallery, and then you know outside of here, in the main living space area for our basement, it's a theater room, but I'll have two big ADA tanks out there too. So that's kind of my plan is just have kind of a cool little gallery. It'll probably be the coolest and most expensive bedroom ever, honestly. To really think about it. I mean, between like not just the tanks, but everything else I have in this room. I have to add that up, but there's probably 40 or 50 grand worth of stuff in this bedroom. And obviously, like 80% of that's because of the tanks. Let's see. My only rimless is a Aqua Japan tank, 45, 25, 25, a lot cheaper, but not low iron. It has round corners in the front. Good starter rimless tank, I think. Oh yeah, like I would say even if it's like if you want to get into like do some a lot higher end, better looking Planet tanks. I mean, even the cheaper rimless tanks, I've had them before too, and they're just fine. The only time you're ever gonna really see a difference is like I said, like if you put them side by side. But other than that, you won't really ever tell a difference. But like where I work, I see these tanks side by side all the time, and I mean you can clearly see what's the better product. But even the cheaper rimlesses are fine. You don't want to go too cheap because some of those companies use a bad silicone, but for the most part, all of them are fine. I haven't really had problems with the cheaper ones ever. My 20 gallon I had at that one point wasn't bad either. It was actually a pretty good tank. But also, I mean, this is a random thought, but if I also have the money when I redo this tank again, it would be a cool idea to get the light screen for this tank next. I think it'd look really neat with the Iagumi. if that's what I end up doing. I could totally end up doing something totally different, but for now, get you guys closer to the tank again. I know some people like being closer. I paid $310 for photo stone. It's 50 pounds. I don't think it's going to be enough, but I don't know about mixing cheaper Siriu. You can mix Siriu. Um, the only thing with Siriu is obviously it will leach, you know, KH and GH, so it's gonna raise the hardness a little bit. But it's best to kind of keep the same rocks because it just visually looks better. But Photostone, it's pretty similar in color, so I think you'd be fine if you wanted to do that. It's actually funny that you mentioned that because I know where you got that from. I think you got that from Apple Forest, and that's it's where we get a lot of our ADA stuff. And yeah, I'm actually the my 45C and then my 60F are gonna have Photostone in it, and so I'm also gonna be buying Photostone here pretty soon. Well, I won't say soon, but whenever I start wanting to do the scape. So yeah, like Photostone. Oh my, like for my 120p, I plan on buying 500 pounds of Photostone, and yeah, 50 pounds is like 300 bucks. So that's not something I'm looking forward to, but also the good thing is I can still get 50% off like that, those two, so I'll save a bunch of money, but it'll still be expensive. Oh yeah, but hopefully I don't need a bunch. I plan to buy like 100 pounds for this tank, so 600 bucks, and then I'll save a little bit of money, so about half that. And then when I do the tank behind me, this one's gonna be more of a woodscape, so there's gonna be a big piece of wood that sticks out. I mean, that's my initial plan. It just depends what wood I can get, but I do plan for like the rocks to be Protostone if I can get smaller pieces. I do like that stuff. I think it's gonna look really good in this tank, so we'll see. But if I need to, I might just buy 150 pounds and just spend a grand and then have extra. So we'll see. Yeah, it's just the ship. I mean, it's already expensive, but then the shipping on top of that, it just gets crazy money. But it's what it is. I mean, the layout's the main thing about the tank, so gotta make it look good. It's my only display tank. It's in the living room. I have 12 other tanks throughout the house, all planted but not scaped. A lot of more tanks than I. A lot of tanks. Yeah. So if I'll have, let's see, one, two, three, four. So I'll have six. But obviously, I mean, way more money into those six than I would ever. But I'll have quite a bit. I would keep a lot of tanks, but I kind of just like having, you know, I'd rather just have like a few nice tanks than, you know, just a bunch of like tanks. But if I had the money, yeah, I'd be going crazy too. Let's see. I was lucky enough to big up on Aquascaper 1200. Yeah, the Aquascaper 1200. Yeah, it's a pretty nice tank. The I've seen those in person a couple times. Yeah, they're pretty nice. Honestly, probably the top three rimless tank brands. If I had to rank them, ADA one. UNS. Honestly, I'd put them at two because of their minor edges, 45s that they put on their edges, which looks kind of nice. And then the Aquascapers, I'd put at three. Those are definitely the top three rimless tanks, or really, I mean, tanks in general. Let's see. I think perhaps with some wood and mesh, it would work with not getting more stones. Yeah, you can definitely do that. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm really not sure how the escapes are going to work out yet, but hopefully they'll be pretty cool. Let me check this. Don't want to flood my room again. It's on the fish room. I don't know how many times I've left this RO system by myself, and it's flooded this room twice now in like a couple weeks. Because that's fine, it'll stop itself, but this bucket will overfill itself, and it sucks so bad. So I just gotta shut off the main water before I flood this thing. Cause I'll talk to you guys and then forget about it, and then so I got that, and then I got a switcher there that you just kick with your foot, and the heater turns on, and then the two wave makers turn on. It's out my RO system. Then obviously I got a pump with the hose that I do water changes with. Just pop that lid on and then waste bin. But yeah, and then obviously you guys have seen my little. This is just my closet, but I've turned it into like a little fish room because it is a pretty big closet. It's 10 foot. Like you walk in the door, it's 10 foot long, and then it's like 5 feet wide. So it's a pretty actually big closet. It worked out pretty nice because the main water line is right there in my room, and so all I had to do is tap into my RO system, and then put my buckets right here. It would have been nice if it was a tiny bit bigger, just because it is kind of cramped after I got all this stuff in here, but it's pretty nice. But for some of you guys that haven't seen this, yeah, I'll show you guys real quick. But I got my, I don't know what you call this, little other tool racks, stuff I don't use as often, but you got airline CO2 tubing, got pipe cleaners, got nets, razors, nets, more nets, and then obviously I just got ADA substrate sands that I don't even know what to do with at this point. All kinds of equipment, test kits, extra equipment, and then I got categorized. I got all my foods. I guess say all the stuff I dose, I guess you can call this, and then some extra fertilizer, which I don't need, but I just have it. So, and then medications, CO2 drop checker stuff, some substrate stuff, cleaners for twin star reactors, a bunch of million different stuff. Then this rack's pretty cool. This is basically the stuff I use daily. So all my tools are hanged up there. I got my two hand shakers, so I got TDS, pH meter, and then all my ADA ferts are on this little shelf I made, which is pretty nice. Matches my trim in my room, and then my shelves also. But got all the ADAs right here. Got all the Tropicas. Got different stuff for ADA dosing stuff for plants. But yeah. But I did have, this is just like random equipment and pieces and parts and boxes. But I did have, and I will do it again. But I made some crates out of cedar that I had on the floor, and that held like extra scaping supplies. So I'll probably do that again once I clean all this up and get rid of this equipment I do not need. So I'll have like scaping supplies down here again. That should be nice. And obviously, the fish fam sticker collection. I have I have to count again. I think I have almost 500 people on my wall now. So these are all stickers that you guys have actually sent me through the mail. So these are all my collection over the last couple months. But yeah, kind of a nice touch to the room. But I have to add even more boards eventually. I don't know yet, but quick tour of the room. Yeah, that water change station just makes the difference. I mean, if you can do that, what I did right there, it's literally changes so much. It just makes water changes not even, you don't even got to think about it no more. It's just so easy. Let's see here. Go back to your guys' question real quick. Yeah, I was using 5-gallon buckets for 10 years straight, and then when I got to this house, I knew how to change it up. Especially with these bigger tanks, there's no way I could use buckets anymore. It would just take way too long. But also the nice thing is with this one's on wheels. Because that one's new, but I'll have to get a set of wheels for this one. So what's nice is even with like the 120Ps that are going to be out there, I can just roll this water. I could roll the water like right to it and then plug it in and fill it up and then bring it right back in here. So it's pretty nice. And then also the wastewater, I can just bring this bucket, drain all the water into this, and then dump that out, put it back in here. So it makes it all kind of nice. It's still going to be a pain, doing all those big tanks, but it makes it just a tad bit easier. Let's see. Thanks, Smokey. Thanks, Snowman. I have a walk-in closet built to 5 by 5 feet. I got 6 tanks in there. I can fit more if I build another rack. Yeah, that's got yourself a little mini fish room. To be honest, I thought about doing the same thing. Not like, on that caliber, but I did think about like having like breeding some stuff like snails and shrimp in that closet. Like just doing like little stuff to like even like feeder snails and all that, or like brine shrimp, or like just having a hatchery in there. But I don't know. That might be. I could, but I think it's fine how it is. Just a little maintenance room. Get you guys closer to the tank again. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I say 10 years. I mean, I probably have only been taking it like seriously for like since I basically started this channel, so since like 2015, so 5 years. But like the first 5 years were like, your traditional beginner years. I was like just doing all kinds of random stuff. But I didn't start doing planted tanks like, being serious about it and like trying to learn until like 2016. And then I did that 20-ounce setup, low tech, and that one went pretty good and learned a lot. And obviously we built this house, and then I got here, and obviously I did this tank once I got the money. So technically, you could still call me a beginner too. Honestly, I think we're all beginners. There's just so much information out there that I don't think nobody's truly ever going to be like a complete expert, but there's always something I learn every day for sure. Especially working at a fish store, is hearing other people talk all day. You truly do learn so much more than you ever could imagine. Let's see. Thanks, Fishbox. My aquarium actually cost me more than the 120p because I had to get a custom cabinet made out of plywood. Yeah, that's for some reason. I mean, it's not for some reason. I mean, it's obvious, but like the cabinets just always they cost so much more, especially like the 80. That's why I built mine. Like it looks like I can build 88 stands pretty much exactly. And that's what I did here, and that's what I'll do with my other ones. But like the 88 stands cost more than the tanks, which that's why I didn't do it because it does kind of suck. But yeah, I mean, especially when you get a nice one custom made, it definitely will cost you a lot for sure. But I have access to make my own, so I might as well. I'm setting up something similar, 8860p Twin Star Biomaster 2, inspired by. Yeah, 8860p. I mean, that's always a size I recommend. Well, it's not a size. It's a good size to start with. It's 16 gallons. Basically a 20-gallon tank. It's just a really good size, and that tank doesn't cost that much. I mean, I think a 60p costs like 160 or 150. It's around there, somewhere close. But it's not an expensive tank at all, and you get a really nice tank. And but yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with the 60p. It's a very popular size. That's what I was saying about my 60F. I probably could have done a 60p here, but I just like the shallow tanks. I think the shallow tank will look really neat, especially with doing an escape that goes out. There's going to be a lot of escape that goes out of this tank for sure. I just don't know how I'm going to do it yet or what I plan to do, but I think this will be a pretty neat setup. It's a good size. It's 60 centimeters, which is 24 inches, and then it's 18 inches front to back, and then it's I think 7 inches tall, 7 or 8. So nice little shallow tank, but also a pretty good size too. So it'll be real. This will be a real fun tank. But I plan to hang a pendant above it. So that's why I raise these boards up so I can hang a pendant above it, so I can do a crazy escape on the outside of this. So we'll see what happens there. Then obviously, like I was saying earlier, a 45p will sit on this one. So that's why I made this big desk over this summer so I could fit some tanks. This desk is 8 feet long, and then it's 4 feet from front to back over here. So So it'll be pretty neat. Probably most excited about that 60F than I am the 45C, honestly, but haven't done a shallow tank yet, so I'm really excited about that. Back to your guys' comments here. Let's see, the plants of this hobby have become an addiction. Yeah. Yeah, especially some of the booze. I love booze. I had a crazy amount of it in this tank, and then obviously when I screwed up on, like the first couple months when I overdosed the tank like crazy and killed it all off. But yeah, booze, I really like booze. I'm definitely going to use a lot of it in my other setups for sure. I like the red minis. I like some of the more exotic colors are so cool, but they get really expensive fast. You know, 20, 30 bucks a cup. But definitely, I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites for sure. What's up, SC? Thanks, Hugo. 88.60p on a local fixture is 200. That's still a great price, honestly, though. Because one of the things I hear people complain about, like especially at our store, is we're the only ADA retailer in the Midwest. So when people complain about the prices of ours, I mean, we bump up the prices probably like 30%. So we definitely have to charge a little bit more just because what we get it all from Aquaforest in California. They're the ADA retailer for like the whole United States, and so when there's only one person that can provide ADA products to us, it's kind of what you have to expect. I mean, it's just going to be higher priced, but at the same time, though, without them, we would not even have ADA products in the United States. So to even really see those products in person and actually get to feel them and see them and before you purchase them is pretty great. So even to me, like paying that extra price is honestly worth it. You know, it's just like, for example, like the ADA filters. Would you rather go online and pay $1,000 for it, or see it in person and pay just a little bit more before you make that big purchase? Because that's a lot of money, and you only get to see it online through pictures, and you really don't know what it's all about. So I think just getting to see those products in person makes a big difference and makes it worth paying a little bit more for some of these stuff, in my opinion. But some people just hate seeing how much this stuff costs, which makes sense. But I'd rather have slow growing plants cut down on the maintenance. Yeah, honestly, I probably would too. But honestly, I actually do like trimming. It's one of my favorite things to do. But yeah, if I could have slow growing plants too, I definitely would. Let's see. What's up, Tennessee H2O? Yeah, this tank, there's a background. There's an ADA frost background. I think they call it the frost. I forget the actual term that ADA uses, but yeah, obviously it would look like this if it wasn't a background, just be a clear. But yeah, let's see if I can. Yeah, let's see. I can kind of peel it back. Yeah, there's a ADA frost film on there. So yeah, it's just like it's just white. All right, we'll see you, Turk. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It'd be pretty nice if I was able to buy a. Yeah, I just might buy the light screen from ADA, so it really makes the background look good. But we'll see. It would definitely, I mean, it would make this tank pop a lot if I did that though. But it's really expensive at the same time though. It costs just as much as a light would. I think a light screen for a 90p would cost. I think it's gonna cost like 600 or 700. I'd have to check the price, but. Let's see. I'm definitely more a budget fish keeper, but high-tech displays are not budget friendly. Yeah, it's just kind of what it is. I mean, having better stuff just is always going to cost more. It's just kind of how it is. But that doesn't say you can't do a great plant tank without expensive equipment. I mean, everybody's seen my 20-gallon tank I did at some point, and I mean you can look at that tank. That's a prime example. I mean, I still put pretty good money in it over time, but like under $1,000, I made that tank, and I mean, I had a full-on carpet in that tank. I mean, tank was honestly pretty impressive for not having no CO2. The light was decent. It wasn't no high-tech light, but and then I don't think I barely dosed fertilizers in that tank at all either. So the the fact that I got that look without barely doing anything was, I don't even know how I did it, to be honest, but it was a good example for people that really wanted to have a nice tank without all the fancy equipment, because it's definitely achievable. It might be a little more work at the end of the day, but let's see. What are you using before using the R? What are you using before using the? Oh, so the RO water, actually at the moment, like with this setup, except I have so much Suryu that it raises the hardness so much already that I actually don't remineralize my RO water at all. I just straight put it in, and it'll mix. Obviously, when I do 50%, it's gonna mix with the old water, obviously too. So even after like a water change with 0 TDS water, if I put the TDS meter on this tank right now, it's gonna be around 100. So, but to keep the hardness down in this tank, I have to use just pure RO water. I can't remineralize it. But if the stuff I do use, which I'll probably use on the other tanks, is I use shrimp mineral, GH and KH plus, or you can just do the GH plus if you don't want to add a lot of KH. But this would be like my go-to, and this is what a lot of people use. It's pretty much the best stuff out there. But that'd be my go-to remineralizer. Let's see. If my girlfriend found out how much I want to spend on another high-tech display, she's gonna. Yeah, that's why. That's why I'm by myself. Then I could just spend my money how I want to. Let's see. I'm getting a CO2 system from Greenleaf Aquarium. Speaking of Greenleaf Aquariums, I got a full-on Greenleaf Aquarium setup. So I got a Greenleaf Aquarium CO2 canister 5-pound from them, which is nothing special. It's just a regular 5-pounder. But then I got their dual regulator, and then obviously I got CO2 line going up to my new diffuser. But yeah, all my CO2 setups are full Greenleaf Aquariums. They make the best regulators for sure. Let's see. I'm using the Neo CO2 kit. My boost is growing a lot faster and more colored plants. Yep. Yeah, CO2 will definitely do that. Brings out everything. Let's see. I'm lucky as far as my water. My very little to no hardness, and TDS out of the tap runs 30-35 well water. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, cause my water here is super hard. It's not like terrible, but like out of the tap it runs like 250, so it's not the greatest. Is that one good? Because they have one coming out, that pre-order. This one's definitely, it's still the best regulator, but the new one that's coming out, it obviously new and approved, so the next best thing. But yeah, even that one is still great. It's still, actually we have the new one. It says pre-order. on their website thing, but we actually have the new ones at our store already, and yeah, they're pretty nice. They're pretty much the same thing though. They just change up the design a little bit. But yeah, any greenleaf regulator, their regulators are the best in the market. The second best would be CO2 art. My TES is 30 after my R unit. Yeah, I probably have to change out the RL system. It's coming out that high. .360 from tap, yeah, that's about the range mine's at. Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time when they come to the store. Everybody wants CO2, but then they want to go cheap on it. That's why every time I do CO2, I just buy the best. I mean, like for example, like what I just showed you, the 5 pound tank, the GLA regulator dual, with the diffuser. I mean, it's gonna be about 500, 600 every time, but it's a one-time cost. Yeah, because if you go cheap on CO2, you're gonna spend more money refueling that. It's just gonna leak like crazy. You're not gonna know what's wrong with it. You're gonna keep refilling your CO2 tank and just spending more and more money. So it's good to just buy a good one first. You're just gonna end up saving more money in the long run. I never used CO2 and I'm kind of nervous about it, so I thought a better one would be Less Dangerous Troubles. Oh yeah, I definitely will be, because when you never done it before, it's not hard at all. Like CO2, there's nothing complicated about it. But when you've never like messed with the equipment before and you don't know like how to problem solve any of it if something does go wrong, so just getting like a nice one at first, it definitely helps a lot better. But the biggest thing with CO2 is, I mean, obviously the biggest thing is just don't overdose. It won't hurt the plants, but you'll hurt your fish. So if you see your fish ever gasping for air at the surface, that definitely is an indicator of too much CO2. Mine at this point, I mean, I have a drop checker, but I haven't been really. I mean, I can just tell how much CO2 if I need more or less just based off looking at the tank. But I would definitely get a drop checker too, just to. It's not going to be totally accurate on how much CO2 is in your tank, but at least it can at least tell you some things. It'll definitely tell you if you have way too much, that's for sure. Let's see. I'm slowly learning what CO2 injection systems to use instead of just DIY CO2 or Neo CO2. I don't want a big system, but I'm sure which size stuff to get. What a big system, but I'm not sure which size and stuff to get for like a. So for like that size tank, what you can get is like a paintball canister. So like a paintball canister is a little tiny. I mean, obviously you can look it up, but how do I draw this? Let me do this. So obviously, like paintballs, they'll just be a lot slimmer and a lot smaller. I think they come in like 20 ounces. They might come in bigger, but then you can get like a regulator that's like for example, Greenleaf Aquarium makes a paintball regulator that's kind of like looks like this, and then you have your dial at top to tell you the pressure. The paintball ones won't tell you how much is left in the tank, but they will tell you the pressure. And then off to the side, they'll have I'm not sure exactly how it's connected, like something like that. And then this will be their bubble counter on the side, which is nice. So it tells you how much bubbles per second. Most of the time you have to buy it separate, but with Greenleaf Aquariums, they have it automatically on the regulators. And then your CO2 tubing goes up from your tank from there. So yeah, that'd be like a setup you'd be looking at getting instead of like what I had, you know, a full big 5-pounder. I'm just messing this drawing up at this point, but yeah, I don't even know what I'm drawing at this point. I'm forgetting what it looks like. But yeah, you know what I get. Just like instead of, you know, a big old dual stage, it'll be more compact like that. But yeah, like paintball canisters, you can get pretty much anywhere. I mean, easiest would be online. You can get paintball stores themselves to sell it. Sports stores sell it. Hardware stores sell it. So pretty easy to get. And then to refill it, the refill a paintball is really cheap too, like probably $5. But yeah, if I'm doing like a nano setup, that's probably what I'll do, and I'll make a video about it if I do it. That's probably what I'll do on my nano setups is a paintball. I was thinking about just going screw it and just do a full 5-pound tank, just because why not? I mean, it'll last forever, but don't have to worry about it. But I think I'll just do paintballs, just to make it easier. But who knows? I might just go full on 5 pounds. Just because I can get the regulators and tanks cheaper at my store, so I just might as well do a full setup. But for YouTube, I might go ahead and do a smaller setup for you guys to show how it works. I probably could help with oxygen. I could definitely getting one, but I want more plants. Noise low. I love the choice. My substrate is dark. Let's see. I run 3 bubbles a second. It's also on a timer, an hour before the light on and off, an hour before lights go out. Yep, that's about what mine is too. 3 bubbles a second, hour before. Actually, mine comes on 2 hours before, and the only reason I do that is a drop checker roughly takes about 2 hours to tell you a correct reading. So the only reason I do that is once the lights turn on, I know that my drop checker is correct and it's still not fluctuating. So that's the only reason why I do that. But an hour before, that's literally what everybody does, so it works just fine. But that's just a little personal thing I do. But then an hour before it turns off. Yeah, it's usually, I think mine actually turns off like when the lights do. Both are fine. It's just more of a waste of CO2. The way I do it, I waste more CO2, but with such a big tank, I only have to refill it once a year, so it's not really a big deal to me. If it was a smaller tank, probably it'd be wasting more CO2, but the Scaper soil, yeah, I saw it too. It's definitely not as good as some of the other top soils like Tropical 88, but it's definitely a good soil. Yeah, the first drawing was okay. I think I actually nailed that drawing. I don't know how I could not draw a dual regulator when I have one myself. So let's see. We gotta fix it. We gotta correct it now. Should got that. Oh no. Forgetting. Oh my god. That's way too big, but there we go. Still doesn't look like it, but it's better. Yeah, that drawing board's actually came pretty handy. I got it to make videos. You can see from like one of my latest videos when I was talking about pH and GHKH and TAS, but it makes a good learning board. So like I'm doing videos, I can draw and teach people stuff. It makes it. So I came up to start. I wanted to start visually teaching people stuff. I know sometimes just talking doesn't make a lot of sense, so I bought that whiteboard so I can kind of draw stuff as I talk. Let's see. Yeah, 5 pounders actually. Yeah, that. I was just thinking about that because usually they'll charge you about the same amount. So yeah, it almost makes like no sense to put a 5 pound on like a 10 gallon or smaller, but at the same time, it'll last you literally like I think if I put a 5 pound on like that 60F, it'll probably last. Let's see, so we got 20. Honestly, it probably lasts 5 years if I fill that 5 pound tank on there. Yeah, because if it lasts a year on a 90P, which is 50 gallons, and that's like 10 gallons basically, 5 times as long, 5 years. At that point, the tank would actually expire, but at least I only have to worry about filling it up once. Definitely gonna look in for a paintball system. Are the paintball tanks refillable? Yeah, some of them might not be, but all of them should be. Most of them that you get will be refillable. I think you can refill paintball canisters at Dick's Sporting Goods. Yeah, you can. I haven't I haven't been there myself to do it. I haven't actually asked and actually went into Dick's Sporting Goods to actually see, but I know people tell me all the time that you can refill them there. I've also called them about it too, so I know they do it. I just don't know where at in the store they refill it at, but that or you can go to a welding shop or if you have an actual gas shop in your city. Like I have quite a few just gas shops in general, so it's pretty nice. You just drop off your tank and then refill it. Let's see. Actually, I thought about ADA and was going to get it, but I have to add stuff to it because it wears over time. Aquarium did a video on the ADA soil and how should mix it with Gray Coast. Yeah, like ADA, like obviously it's filled with nutrients and like the nutrient level, ADA soil actually lasts the longest out of all of them, which is why it costs more. Um, it packs a lot more nutrients, and ADA soil roughly, I mean, it depends how much plants and how heavily you plant in your tank, but it'll last about 2 years. And like Tropica, about the same, probably a year and a half, 2 years. And then like all the other ones, the little bit cheaper ones, they'll last like maybe up to a year. So that's what makes a big difference. So really, every soil you're going to have to eventually replace. So that's why a lot of times you see scapes, like nice scapes, they tear them down after a year or so because of that. Um, Everything just you can, and then obviously if you want to keep your scape and keep it going strong, you can root tab. ADA makes root tabs. Tropica makes really good root tabs. Corn Co-op makes really good root tabs. Um, so yeah, you can definitely go that route too. Let's see, for CO2. If I get the paintball system, the regulator, and the solenoid, if I get a paintball system, the regulator and solenoid, like a dual stage, yeah, like unless you go with a cheap one, it won't. But like if you get like a green leaf one, like we were talking about, they'll have a solenoid on it and so you can be able to plug it into a timer and so it can shut off and on. But yeah, like we have one at our shop, one that's meant for paintball, and yeah, it's really nice. It has solenoid on it and bubble counter, real compact one compared to like the big old dual stage. Is pure RO water always at pH 7 or TDS and pH are not linked? Um, well, in a perfect world, RO water is at pH 7 in a perfect world. But most of the time, if you test it, it's like half a point off. So sometimes it'll be like 6.5, sometimes it'll be like 7.5. So it's not always like dead on 7.0, but in a perfect world it should be 7, but most of the time there's stuff that affects it and it will read a little lower, a little higher. Let's see, but TDS and pH, they're not linked necessarily. They're, I guess you could say they're kind of, but TDS measures the dissolved minerals, and pH doesn't exactly. I guess I take that back. It's kind of hard to explain without actually really thinking about it. But TDS is measuring the minerals in your water, and it basically tells you how soft your water is. But at the same time, anything you put in your water is going to raise your TDS, so you can't really rely on your TDS telling you if your water is hard or soft or not, unless you know exactly what you're putting into your water. Like I know when I dose my fertilizers in this tank, I know it's going to raise my TDS by like 20 or 30, so I know that, so I can always subtract that. And yeah, and then also like the stones, it raised my TDS, like it can raise my TH a couple hundred if I let it soak long enough. So even though I'm putting soft water in my tank, my TS could be reading like 300. So sometimes you can't exactly go off that, but I butchered that sentence. Please excuse my battery. Oh, you're fine. I can understand what you guys are saying. The regular and cylinder are one piece, like a dual stage on the bigger system. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, they're all just one piece, all put together. Yeah, that's why I made the. That's why you see the TDS and pH on that board over there. I made a video about it, but at the same time, I don't think that video was exactly great either, because it's just kind of confusing to explain. You kind of have to go one by one, and honestly, I think the best way to learn it is just by experience, by testing your TDS, pH, GH, KH. It's just over time. I think people just learn it themselves, rather than just somebody telling them about it. It gets kind of confusing. Everybody explains it different. What plants do you have in here? So let's see. So the back here is Rotella atra. This big green bush right here is proweed. I also have proweed growing back here too. So eventually they'll match with bushes on the side. And then I got Rotella bonsai, Rotella bonsai, Rotella bonsai. I got AR mini, red mini, 1, 2, and 3. And then I got S repins, Nana a Pete, Nana. And I got Monte Carlo. And I think that's it. Oh, and then I have some Boost left. Boost Red Mini throughout the rocks. I don't test for TDS. I do test for pH, KH, and JH. Yeah, TDS. I mean, if you're using RO water and stuff like that, like most of the time you're fine without a TDS meter, because most of the time you're gonna know it's on the low side and pretty good. But when you have like tap water, it's hard to tell what your TDS is. I got this one's pretty nice. This is probably honestly the best one, but I got a Hannah checker one. But let's see here. So if we turn this on, drop it in here. So I do that right here. So right now I did a water change today, so it's gonna be lower. So right now it's reading about 68, 70, so around 70 right now. But usually within a couple days they'll be at like 120. See here. I'm new to RO water, and I told myself that I just dose minerals after each water change to reach around 120. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct to an extent. It just depends on each setup. Like mine, I don't remineralize to anything. I just straight up put 0 TDS water in here because I know my stones are going to naturally raise it. So I put that into the equation. So that's why I put, but on a regular setup, yes, like I'd put straight RO water in your water first, and then test it, see what it is, and then remineralize it to, about 120, 130. But yeah, if you have like a lot of stone like I do that raises the hardness, then most of the time you don't really need to mineralize at all. because the stones will naturally do it. Let's see here. Deer here. Let's see. What plants don't you recommend? If you don't have CO2, I wouldn't recommend any like a lot of reds or like any fancy colors. There's a lot of stems I wouldn't recommend. Like a lot of rotalias I really wouldn't recommend. Just anything that's high nutrient, that needs a lot of nutrients to survive. Let's see. Phone's going dead. Plug it in real quick. Yeah, Hannah checker for really. I mean, any tests. Any tester in general, Hannah makes the best ones. Makes really nice. Thanks, Theory. I have a Dutch aquascape. As cool, so no stones at all. Thanks for the advice. Have a nice day, everybody. We'll see you, Hugo. Love Pearl Weed. Grow so fast, so green. Yeah, I really do. Pearl Weed's really nice. But, so guys, my phone's, I wish I kept it charged, but my phone's kind of going dead, so I've been streaming for over an hour now, so I'll do a live stream this weekend for sure again, probably on a Friday night or so. So you guys, I know a lot of people have more questions, so, but if you have any other questions that you need answered, you can definitely hit me up on Instagram at JJ Aquariums, or you can comment on one of my videos. I'll get that answered pretty quick. But yeah, I'll probably head out here and see you guys on the next one. But let's see, answer a few more questions here that you guys have left. I actually heard Pro Weed was bad, which is why I asked about plants to avoid. Pro Weed, yeah, like if you don't have CO2, Pro Weed tends not grow that good. I've tried it before on low tech, and it's just kind of a mess. It doesn't really grow very well. It ends up just melting away most of the time. So yeah, I would definitely say if you don't have CO2 or highlighting, Pro Weed kind of doesn't look as great. We'll see Nature Aquariums. I'll make sure I subscribe at the end of this video if I'm not already. But yeah, thanks for everybody that came out, and I'll see you guys probably. I'll stream. I'll stream definitely probably Friday night maybe, and then during the week I might, if I get my tanks, my 2 tanks, I might stream earlier. I don't know. I might just keep it till Friday, and then because I might end up building a stand with it too, so I can just showcase that on the next stream. But yeah, I might come in on Instagram on live too, if you guys follow me on there. So we'll see what happens. Well, thanks, Snowman. Yeah, everybody seems to have different experiences with Pro Weed. I didn't really grow it enough in a low tech to really have an opinion, so I know it probably would do fine. Let's see. Oh yeah, guppy grass. Yeah, it grows like crazy. Let's see. Well, right, guys. So if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I always post kind of behind the scenes, and whatever I'm up to, I post on there. So if you guys want to follow along there, you guys can. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you guys on the next stream probably later this week, and talk to you guys then. But yeah, thanks for everybody for coming out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.